We are live on the Greatest Salesman Show. My name is Dan McCormick. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. And my great friend Alan Nagao is going to be with us today. And I am just going to say up front that if you have something to be taking notes on today, of course, you're going to be able to replay it. It is going to have, from start to finish, some nuggets for you and your life. The Greatest Salesman. When Og Mandino first wrote that book, at the end of the beginning of the story, before the scrolls, he says, I'm going to share with you secrets that I haven't shared with anyone in 30 years. Alan has been a friend of mine for a lot of years, and I am excited to take notes. So good afternoon, Alan, and welcome to the Greatest Salesman podcast. How are you doing today?
Aloha, having the best day of my life.
Well, Og says that in the book a couple of times, and I know that thousands of people may listen around the globe. I know that you're going to have people that are on your path. It might be this week, this month, this year that listen to this podcast on many different mediums, but it is going to be a whole lot of fun. Wherever you're joining us from today, we look forward to your questions and your comments on The Greatest Salesman. And what we like to do at the beginning of every show, before we get into Alan's career, how we met, what I think his most extraordinary gifts are, I'd love Alan to come on and from a value proposition to all of our listeners, like I do each and every week, Alan. I wonder if you wouldn't just share like 3 things that shape the greatest salesmen in the world mind. What do you think about? What are 3 things that stick with you each and every day?
Well, every day I think there are a couple key secrets to kind of get you're honed on into what it is that you want to accomplish. And the first and most important thing comes actually from the book Think and Grow Rich, which is the definite main purpose in life statement. This statement is not only your goal, it has a date on it, but it also, you must add in what you're going to do to make that goal come true and how you need to be. Like maybe you need to be more confident or more aggressive or even more patient. So depending on your personality, finding out what it is that you need and to be able to visualize your success. Sometimes it's very difficult visualizing money. But it's much easier to see what money can do for you or buy. So maybe a trip with your parents to the Vatican and see the Pope or doing something special. And remember always at the end of every statement, thank you, God, for it is done. To make sure that you know that you don't have to do this by yourself. Well, number 2, I would say is to visualize your day. And I actually break my day into 2 pieces. So I actually visualize just my morning until just after lunch. And then I go into the private meditation room in every office building. There is a few of them. They kind of make a flush noise. If anybody goes and thinks you're weird meditating, then they're more weird than you looking for you over there, okay? So just go and take a little meditation break in the middle of the day and do the latter half. Seeing your day, I had a very special mentor that told me, basically, you only have to have one successful day. If you can create one successful day, and then one successful day, you can have an incredible life. And that has been my life, really, is just one successful day at a time. But meditation, when I say that, I mean a very active meditation to see what it is you want for that morning and then what it is you want to achieve in the afternoon. See the perfect picture of that day. The last thing I think I set off every day, get your feet on the floor. I don't know how else to say this, but my son asked me, at 17 years old, like, Dad, how do I get discipline? I'm I'm struggling here. I want discipline. What do I need to do to have discipline? And I said, well, Evan, what you need to do is the alarm rings at 6 o'clock. Just put your feet on the floor. Put your feet on the floor and stand up. This will completely change your life. Just do it. And as he practiced this one thing, it completely, pretty soon he was going out and working out in the morning. And he was kind of used to getting up at 11 or 1 o'clock. He was done with high school, and it was not feeling good. And suddenly he started feeling really good. And I think that can change your life. So just get up. And, you know, that's the greatest discipline, really. I don't think there's anything more than that.
Wow. I love that, because as I know you, I know that every day, I mean, the genuine, authentic Alan Nagao shows up with these three things. I mean, just knowing you, to hear you put those into words for the greatest salesman in the world, for people that might watch this and might say, how am I going to learn from this? To have that statement every single day, and it's vivid, it's real, you feel it, it's every fiber of your being, it's every day. Is it 3 times a day for you?
It's twice a day, morning and night. And I'll tell you, some people, I think a lot of people think it takes a lot of discipline to have success. And yes, it takes discipline, but the discipline can be as simple as your telephone ringing. So set an alarm. Set an alarm every day to ring in the morning and ring at night. And when the alarm rings, go do your statement. And sometimes, it happens at inopportune times. Like, I ride on planes a lot. So I was walking into the plane and my alarm rang. And at that moment, you have a choice. You're going to either go for your success or you're going to chicken out. Basically, you're gonna do what is more comfortable. And I think it's always better just to go for it. And so I yelled my statement out, as I'm walking down the aisle in the plane. And that trip, nobody talked to me. Not even the flight attendant. Okay, nobody spoke to me, like that crazy guy over there. But would you like to be successful and crazy? And I believe crazy people, crazy income. And normal people, normal income. And I don't know if you want to live on normal, income in, like, say, Los Angeles, like California, where we are in Orange County here. That's not going to be a fun life. So you probably want to be a little crazy and challenge yourself. But the alarm, I think, is the key point here. I think, if you just decide that you will never turn off your alarm until you get what it is that, your statement says, then you will always get it. And then go from mountaintop to mountaintop.
Wow. So I have a lot of feedback, and I think throughout our time today, I'm going to come back to these three things. But before, hopefully we've given some people some real powerful things to put into their repertoire to be the greatest salesman. But I wonder if, when I first met you, and I think you came to my house in Orange County, I know that years ago, I know you're a vociferous reader. Think and Grow Rich was kind of your beginnings. And I know that the greatest salesman in the world has been a big part. I mean, I kind of look at you and I say, Alan Nagao is nature's greatest miracle. Before we get into any of that, what was it like for you, Alan Nagao, growing up in Hawaii? Because you grew up with some difficult circumstances.
Well, I was born in Hawaii with a disability. This disability was caused by drugs given to my mom during the pregnancy. It was prescription drugs that were bad drugs. So it caused tens of thousands of people, kids born in the early 1960s, born without arms and maybe flippers, in my case, missing some fingers, but also missing my right leg and a very short stump. this made it very difficult to walk. And in fact, I had to wear a crash helmet every day, a leather. It was an ugly helmet. I hated it, but I had to wear it even in elementary school. And I just wanted to be like all of the other kids. I remember my first day walking into campus, and the kids ran away from me. You're a monster, you're a robot. And I sat down with four girls in my first class, and they were crying because they were afraid of me. And so my memory of elementary school was, I just don't want to go to school. I remember every day, like holding on to the pole and saying, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. And I think, but I think God take away something from you, give you something. And for me, that was the smile on my face. Almost no matter what happened, I had this smile. I think it is one of the greatest secrets in the world, is just to have a smile on your face every day. Makes life bearable, but also, there is this law of attraction when you got a beautiful smile and you're just going out there and beaming at the world.
I know that before, I mean, a lot of people, you're known as, you're so good at what you do in the world of direct selling. You are unbelievably connected around the world, the way you create your businesses on a day-to-day basis. But going back to before you became the greatest yo-yo salesman in the world, give us an idea of what life was like and where that idea came from, because I'm going to draw out some things on what I see your greatness in. And I wonder if you would just kind of start there and tell people what was life like for you before the world's greatest yo-yo salesman became the man.
Well, I was, 19 years old. I graduated from high school. I'm kind of like you. I completed college in a very short amount of time, like less than 2 years, and some people call that dropping out.
Yeah.
But I opened my own business, and it was a store selling kites.
Okay.
So I got into a motorcycle accident. I broke my only good leg, so therefore I was legless. I was in a wheelchair, and while I was in the wheelchair, I started flying kites, and especially sport kites, two-line sport kites. And I enjoyed it so much. And I said, man, we need to sell these. But there was no shop in Hawaii or Oahu, where I was living in Honolulu. So I decided to open a shop. I was losing money every day. I was probably selling about $80 of kites every day. I considered that pretty good, since nobody really needs kites. But the problem is, when you're young, you don't have much money to lose. So I was underwater kind of immediately. And I really needed a way to kind of have success. So I started studying personal development, first with seminar companies like PSI seminars. And I was coming to the realization that you have to reprogram the inside of your mind, your internal conversation, your internal mind. And so I started to make affirmation lists, like 60 affirmations, positive statements, like I am confident, I am disciplined, I am on time. I mean, all of things I was not at that time. I was very footloose and fancy free. So, during that time, I was trying to get a hold of myself. I was trying to control who I was and get some disciplines. And I realized at that time it was the Walkman days, and I could record on both sides of the tape and then put it and play it all night, and let it repeat and repeat and repeat. I was trying to reprogram my mind. And they say that when you are ready, your teacher will appear. And that's when my teacher, named Joseph Green, was taught by Napoleon Hill directly. I got to meet him, and he was 88 years old. born in 1897. So I felt so blessed to have a mentor. I was looking, I was dying to find somebody like this. And when I found him, I started to learn a lot about the philosophy of success and how to run, how to set goals. Like actually, he taught me to set goals I didn't think I could achieve. It wasn't even smart, like specific, measurable, attainable. It wasn't even that. It's like find a goal that's unattainable, like you don't think you can do, and let's prove that we have a power inside of us. And then he taught me how to access that power. And really, it's about that definite purpose in life statement and creating a burning desire for what it is that you want.
Yeah. So you go from so give me an idea on how you because the kite business eventually started to grow and you developed, and where did the yo-yos come in? How did you go from kites to yo-yos?
Well, my goal, my impossible dream, of $80 a day. So my impossible dream was to sell $2,000 of yo-yos a day. I mean, of kites a day, and 2,000 a day sounded really crazy. I ran a shop. It was 700 square feet. It's not very big, um, but I started to write down that dream, that goal, and started to work on it every day. Don't let the sun set without taking one bite out of your goal. And so my goal was to be in a very large shopping mall in Hawaii called the Ala Moana Shopping Center. It's where all of the big shops are, like the Macy's and the really high end, the Louis Vuittons and Gucci and all of those guys. And so you know, kite shop. I was a young business guy, um, but I followed a lot of the things that are taught in applying for a job, which is um, it's actually part of the organized planning in the book Think and Grow Rich. I followed that carefully, and as I followed it, I wrote an incredible application to Ala Moana. It was professionally written. We had professional photographer take the photos, and I had an artist do a rendering. And when Ala Moana saw it, they were like, "Who is this guy? What is this guy?" And I sold them on the idea not that I was going to be successful, but that I would add something to their mall, that I would add color and vibrancy and energy to their mall. I was going to benefit them. And so I wasn't selling myself. I was selling, that this was going to benefit them. And I did actually get into Ala Moana Center. I had applied for a loan to build out my shop 6 times, got rejected every time.
Wow.
But using the definite main purpose in life statement and repeating it over and over, you don't take no for an answer. You just kind of take the next step. And I kept on going until finally I got a friend of a friend to say, you know what, we'll look at your application again for a third time. And they gave me the loan and I opened. And I started to do over $2,000 a day selling kites. So that was my beginning. Why did I get into yo-yos? Well, during this time, I traveled. My next goal after doing $2,000 a day was travel around the world. So I became a professional kite flyer, traveled around the world, came home from those tours, and realized I was still living at home with my mother-in-law, and I needed a home. So using the same process, the definite purpose in life statement, I wrote a statement to own a beautiful $1 million home. And I built my own home with my dad, who was a general contractor. And this is physical labor. I mean, in Hawaii, the home was built on a mountain overlooking Sandy Beach. Actually, Dan, you have been there.
Yep.
and it's built on lava rock. So I had to. I mean, it is like jackhammer all of the trenches for the drains and everything. I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was great learning. It was great learning and great disciplines. Learning how to kind of uh, have a goal in the future, but how to just take a step every day. And building a home is a graphic example of,
Yeah.
like, you don't see anything at the beginning. I mean, you just see literally holes in the ground, and that's what the house looks like before you start. And it took you 3 months to prepare the ground before you even build. And so there's a lot of learning in that process. So when I finished my home, I had $1 million loan, and I needed to pay this. And I remember my first mortgage payment. It was all my savings and my paycheck, and I made 1 month. And I thought to myself, I am not living like this for 30 years. And so, again, the philosophy is to set a goal you don't know you can achieve,
Mm-hmm.
but set a goal. And I decided to pay off my home in less than 2 years. The yo yo business seemed like a possibility because my kite business was $2,000 a day, 60,000 a month, but you really only net like 5%. I mean, really, it's not enough to
Right.
pay a home like this. So I needed something else, and I saw a little boom of yo-yos coming. I created a very simple system. This is the yo-yo I sold.
Wow.
This is called a Yomega yo-yo with a brain. It has two centrifugal clutches that open, and then it comes up back up to your hand automatically. Well, I loved it, so I said, okay, let's go and make a promotion like karate. So kids practice 10 tricks, they become white belt. 10 more tricks, yellow, green, eventually black belt. The more advanced tricks. Kids were crazy. They would come and line up every day in my shop, and then they would run out of the shop with their new card, which was the next level. And they would practice in every schoolyard, every bus stop, every dead end lane. And literally, I sold more yo-yos in Hawaii than all 49 other states,
Wow.
specifically this one. And this was an expensive yo-yo. I mean, most yo-yos were like a few dollars, like $5, and this one was like $20. But we sold a lot of them. So I decided to bring the idea to Japan. So I wrote another statement. I was going to sell 1 million yo-yos in Japan. I was going to make them $1 per yo-yo. And I called the yo-yo companies in America, which are this company, Omega, and Duncan Yo-Yos. And I asked for the exclusive contract for Asia. I was so surprised when Omega, the president of Omega, said, "You want the exclusive for Japan? Okay." I mean, opportunities lie everywhere, but you don't expect it when they just say it, okay, that quickly. So I said, no, I want exclusive. I want to have a contract. He said, well, contract will take a little longer, but you can have that. And I just marked up the wholesale price, international price, $1, and I made $1. Um, we launched the Japan market, and I always, say it that we sold 1 million. My goal was to sell 1 million yo-yos in Japan, make $1 million. My first year, 10.5 million yo-yos in Japan. So I overshot my goal by 10 times. But it wasn't that easy. I know one of the things in the pre-program you were asking me to share a little about what it was it really like. I mean, really, you just set a goal and then it happens? Absolutely not. You will be tested. You will be tested to see if you really want what you say you want.
Yeah.
And there is no free lunch, and you have to pass the test. And so for me, that happened because I would go to Japan. I was looking for a distributor, and the companies would tell me after 20 minutes of listening to my presentation about karate yo-yo system, they would ask me, "Are you trying to sell me yo-yos?" And would look really angry at my interpreter and say, "Didn't you tell him we don't buy toys from America? We sell toys to America." And that happened so often that I could understand those words in Japanese. And, we were kicked out. I mean, sometimes we were on the street. My interpreter was like, "I don't want to do the next meeting." And I'm like dusting her off and saying, "No, no, look, I'm paying you, and we're going. Come on, let's go to the next meeting." And over. So what keeps you going when you're getting these rejection over and over and over? It really is a burning desire, a vision of what it is that you want. And you see that more clearly than what is. And that's the secret. You have to visualize your success before you succeed. And by doing the statement over and over, you start building a desire and you kind of stay more on track. But I can tell you for sure, Dan, even then, I got super tested. The bigger your goal, the bigger your test. And my test came one day. We were in Japan. I'm spending $1,000 a day because I have an interpreter. I have, yo-yo players. I have professionals. I have kids. Sound system, air tickets, hotels. $10,000 a tour, 10 days long. So I'm spending $1,000 a day, which I didn't really have. I was on borrowed money. And so I remember going into a very famous toy store with, a schedule. I'm here to do a demo. And as I walk in, the manager looks at me, I go, "I'm here to do your demo. It's free. We have these amazing yo-yos. We're going to demonstrate it to your customers." And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Yes, we have a schedule." "No." And the next moment, he's like, "Out." And I'm like, "Oh my God, we're on the street. I'm spending thousands of dollars for nothing. Let's go do a demo on the street." I'm doing a demo now on the street with sound system, with my team. And all of a sudden, I hear this noise behind me. And I turn around slowly to look, and it's a bum, a homeless on the street, his can sitting there in front of him. I'm blocking his way. And he's like, like this. And I know what he means. Get off of my street.
Wow.
And, that day I felt less than the bum on the street.
Wow.
And suddenly every negative thought came back to my mind. It just all appeared at once. And pretty soon I was thinking, how stupid of an idea. Who thinks they can sell 1 million yo-yos in Japan? Who are you? You don't even speak Japanese. And then we don't buy toys from America. We sell toys to America. All of those repeated, like coming into my brain. And my brain literally went straight into complete breakdown. And now I'm with my team. We're off to the side in the corner of the street corner, huge traffic, and I can barely talk. I'm over there going, "Go back to the hotel. Have a good dinner. I just need a little time." And I'm crying, and I'm telling everybody, "Just go back, have a good dinner. I'll meet you back at the hotel." And that day, it seemed impossible. And I decided as they left to call my mastermind back in Hawaii. I called them and I'm saying, I'm the bum on the street kicked me off of the street. I'm less than the bum on the street. I'm so stupid. What a dumb idea, spending all of this money, all of my family's money for a dumb dream. And suddenly my mastermind is like, Alan, is that you? Doesn't sound like you. I go, yeah, it's me. What happened? I said, the bum on the street kicked me off the street. I don't know what I'm doing here. They said, I think you better do your statement. I said, are you kidding? I cannot do my statement right now. I'm still crying. They said, do it. Do the statement. I cannot. Look, we have an agreement. Whatever we say, you must do. So do your statement.
Wow.
And I'm over here crying and doing my statement. It's December and I sold 1 million yo-yos in Japan. I'm crying and doing my statement. I'm gonna do 1 million yo-yos in Japan. And they're like, do it again, do it again, do it again. And that day, doing it over and over, my dream came back into my mind.
Wow.
And I remember walking, I showed my kids, we were in Japan a few years ago, this is the park. I was walking down the sidewalk of the park, yelling my statement so loud that people literally crossed 6 lanes of street to get to the other sidewalk because they did not want to come anywhere close to me. And the crickets stopped cricketing in the trees. I mean, I was just yelling at the top of my lungs. And there's a moment that you will be tested and it will come down. There's multiple tests, but that moment came for me. I passed the test with the help of my mastermind. So I think that's one of the keys.
For sure.
And 6 months later, 1.2 million yo-yos a month. I made $1 a yo-yo. Commission $1.2 to $1.6 million a month. And the secret, this is definitely not just about selling.
Yeah. But what's so fascinating, as people will listen to this show all around the world, every walk of life, just like what you said was so brilliant, the bigger the goal, the bigger the test. And I sit there and I think about Og Mandino, and his test was the bottle and drinking too much of the bottle and going, he basically said in his own words on our website that my life was a living hell for 10 years. So he had his way of having a main definite purpose statement. I will greet this day with love in my heart. Today I begin a new life. And when I think about Alan Nagao, I'm curious about because you're such a reader. Tell me about being nature's greatest miracle.
It's so funny when you called me about this show. I was working for the month on only that chapter. As you know, the secret to Og Mandino's reading is not reading the book. It's reading every scroll every day, 3 times a day. And that is challenging. I mean, it took me many, many attempts to get through the book once. And, 1 year of reading to get through the book. I mean, it's every scroll times a month. And so, it takes time. I'm going to say that the greatest miracle is a chapter about, Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest that ever lived. I'm the greatest champion. And I know, as a child, we were literally taught not to say things like that.
Yeah.
It was ingrained in us. Like, don't say that. Like, that is bad. That you you're bragging, and don't say you're great. And I remember when Muhammad Ali did that, and it shocked the world. It really did. Saying that you're the greatest, like people are going to try and defeat you. But he won. I mean, he won most of his fights, and he really truly embodies this greatest secret. Now, let me tell you, what I think happens is that we're taught to live small, and therefore, what actually happens is um, we need to reprogram that part of our mind.
Mm.
And Augmendino is telling you you need to let that part of your mind, the quiet, still, silent part of your mind, absorb this secret. And literally, you have to find those ghosts inside of you that block you, because maybe you were taught that you're not that successful, or in my case I was taught like that, I'm not like everybody else. I'm always the last one picked on the team. I was always the one in the back. And so that was in my programming. And so when you start saying I am the greatest, and I am unique, I am special, all of a sudden it literally fights that program. And that is an important fight to win. And
Yeah.
so
I agree with you, because the way that you come out of the womb, your mom is taking these drugs, and you are nature's greatest miracle. You have your own voice, your own fingerprints. I mean, no one can duplicate your brush strokes, as Augmendino says. And so I just want to pause for a second for those who are joining us late. My name is Dan McCormick. You're on the Greatest Salesman Show. You're here with Alan Nagao, the greatest salesman in the world that I know. He's unbelievable. If everybody could just take note that the show is sponsored by the Augmendino Company, and you can take our free assessment called habitfinder.com, habitfinder.com/act now. We'll put that on the screen for you, and hopefully you'll share that with people and be able to measure those thoughts. Alan went through all of those emotions and worked to align his thoughts with the principles, the habits, and the reference points of all of the amazing reading that he did from The Greatest Salesman, The Greatest Secret, The Greatest Miracle, Think and Grow Rich, etc. When do you think the first time you read The Greatest Salesman was, or The Greatest Secret?
I didn't quite get the last words you said. So can you say it again?
When do you think, what was it like the first time you read The Greatest Salesman or The Greatest Secret?
I mean, I'll tell you, it's actually not the first time I read it. It's the last time I read it. This is a book that you have to read over and over and over. And the last time you read it will be the best time, because you literally feel those thoughts getting adjusted, like chiropractic service of your mind. There's so many people that take tens of thousands of dollars of personal development training, but the most difficult part is the last 6 inches, just getting from there to there at the center. And so really, I truly believe that what really is the key is to understand that we have blocks inside of us, and that we need to unblock those blocks. And so those blocks tend to mess with our achievements, and so we kind of end up to fall back into the same place over and over again. And we need to break out. And so this is the process. Augmendino's book is the way to break out. And it seems like you're just repeating the same thing over and over. But that's not what is really happening. What is really happening is you're reprogramming that chip in here to see success as the greatest miracle. And as you achieve one thing after the other, um, I think you will find that there is power that starts occurring because you believe in yourself and you get more confident. Today, Dan, I brought a special tool with me. So I thought I'd share to everybody.
Well, I wonder if I could ask you a question before you do the
Okay,
special.
yeah, okay.
Because I know this is going to be powerful. I think not only are you the greatest salesman in the world, but I think it is because you learned how to demonstrate. And I find your skill set to be quite remarkable in two areas. I've never seen anyone demonstrate every aspect of life for whatever it is you're selling. If it's youth and beauty and aging, you've got a way to demonstrate it. If it's a kite, you've got a way to demonstrate it. If it's a yo-yo, you've got a way to demonstrate it. So I think that you have a unique, I'm curious if you remember when that light came on for you, because when I think about the difference demonstrated, I mean, you are the demonstration king. Is there a light bulb that went on when you did? Because I mean, that's an element of showmanship. If we think about the movie, The Greatest Showman, you really demonstrate products and lifestyle and living. I mean, you demonstrate personal development. I mean, you demonstrate everything about your life. You're in demonstration mode. Do you remember how that happened?
I think it's just over time. It really comes down to the greatest miracle. Again, nature's greatest miracle. I was on a mountain doing a personal development course where you go solo for 2 days.
Wow.
So you carry a bunch of nuts and a couple gallons of water, and you live in a tent in a 10 by 10 space, and you don't get out. You just sit there and you think about your life.
Wow.
And during that personal development training, I never considered myself creative. And the reason is because I thought of creative people as being these artists, musicians and art. And I call myself an 8 box of crayons, like eight color crayons. Like the world was in 8 colors, whatever. Brown is brown, green is green. That's the way it is. And so I never saw like myself as an artist or anything. That day, as I set up my tent and I set up everything, I realized how creative I really am.
Mm.
And I realized that I have a creativity, and my creativity is in marketing. And I decided that I do have this, I am creative, that I am creative. I have this creative talent. And that was really a big change for me, because once I opened that door, the other doors flew open as well.
Wow.
And I went from designing a sport kite, which became the #1 selling sport kite, and then all of the other successes, which include the yo-yo business and selling 30 million yo-yos globally. And now, just 15 years doing what I'm doing as a team elite. That's been crazy too. I mean, like really crazy, and a lot of fun.
I think that's really interesting because you really realized that you were the nature's greatest miracle. There was a shift for you from no creativity to creativity and the demonstration part of you. But there's something else that you do that I've never seen anyone else do that is absolutely brilliant. And that is you have the ability to recognize the newest people on your team, the newest people in your store, the newest people in your environment. You have a way of recognizing them. You have a way of making them feel like they're a part of your circle, your friendship, you care. That to me was amazing to see how you did that with people that had never met you before. And I mean, I know that the world of direct selling is a big part of recognition, but you figured out how to recognize people that weren't in your company, that weren't on your team. That to me is a unique gift. How did that come about for you?
I think that comes from Hawaii. I mean, really,
Okay.
people in Hawaii, we have a different kind of love, you know, and it's a love. Oops, sorry
Oh,
about
you gotta stop and do your statement now.
that. I don't know. You know, we have a different kind of love, and the love is really an unconditional love for people, and we love to love. That is the way it is. You know, I almost feel kind of sometimes a little strange because there's sometimes we're like known as there's the Hawaiian team and there's the American team. Like we're doing kite flying and there's the US team and then there's the Hawaiian team. And we're always like slightly different. And I think that just comes from being in the islands. We love to hang out and we have an aloha spirit. And it's truly a spirit of love
And
and
doesn't
giving.
aloha kind of mean love?
Yeah, aloha means to share the breath. Alo
Right.
and ha, the breath.
Yeah.
So to share the breath, and so we're sharing the breath, which is sharing the spirit and breath of life. You know that kind of breath. So breath of life. So
You just,
we're
I mean,
sharing our life.
I really wanted to bring that out because I mean, I've been around thousands, tens of thousands, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people in my life. And I really think you are the greatest salesman in the world because of the way that the entire three things that you started with, but the demonstration skills, the recognition skills, the fact that you just love. I mean, it's like you said, crazy people, crazy income. And I mean, people might say you're crazy walking down the aisle of the airplane saying your main definite purpose statement, but I think Og Mandino says it well too, and that is nature knows not defeat, and you always figure it out.
Yes.
So maybe give us some thoughts in closing here about those three things. As I look at it, main definite purpose. I mean, Og kind of got the idea from Ben Franklin to have the thought of a day, right? The 13 virtues. You got a main definite purpose statement idea from Joseph Green, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Visualizing your day, feet on the floor. Those are three things that I know you do. So maybe take the next couple minutes and close us out on what your thoughts would be for our listeners, and maybe it'll help them too become the greatest salespeople in the world.
Sorry about the overhead noise. Um, I'm out here in my Hawaiian garden in
Great,
California, Los Angeles.
great.
Uh, but you know what I wanted to share, Dan, is a little bit about how I made my first million. I wanted to share that because I think there's a couple things that are really crazy that I did, but it worked. So one of the things that my mentor did with us is he asked us to visualize, like visualize. He asked us always to keep three $100 bills on ourselves on a money clip. So we put the three $100 bills in a clip and then put it in our pocket and put all the smaller bills behind it. But one of the things that we did was I wanted to earn $1 million, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to imagine going to a bank and cashing a check for $1 million. And you know how banks do it? They actually have all of the bills and they count it in little fans. They fan the money. They fan it like this way. All $100 bills, let's say. And these are not all hundreds, but you just fan it out, and then it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, and then they stack it, which is $100 bills and 10,000. So you make a little prop, and they wrap it, right? They wrap it like this, and now you have your little wrapped $10,000. And now what you do is you stack it. So if you start stacking it, this is 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 would be about this tall. Okay, that's $50,000. So if you start stacking it in a briefcase to make $1 million, it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy, actually. And what we did was we counted and closed our eyes, smell, because US money has a different smell.
Yeah.
And we actually put it in the briefcase and then carried, not James Bond, but I had a special briefcase with the little locks and the combinations on it. And I carried that briefcase around. And, I visualized myself getting $1 million commission check. You know, there was a day that I got a $1.4 million check, brought it to the bank, and went up to the teller and said, "Can I cash this, please?" And the teller actually yelled at me like, "You can't do that." I said, "What can I do?" "You cannot just write any amount on a check and then try to cash it. That's illegal." I said, "No, no, this is a real check. I mean, this is my check. This is what I get paid every month."
Wow.
She was like, "What?" She looked at it, she studied it, and then she said, "You cannot do this. We cannot just put $1.4 million in your hands today. Go to the main branch, make an appointment." I said, "No, that's okay. Just deposit it." But it actually happened to me. And I just want people to realize that the the greatest secret in the world is that we have a power far beyond what you could ever imagine.
Mhm.
And you are the greatest miracle in the world. And there is no way, you're a winner from the day you started. I heard it said this way, that there are, I don't know, millions of sperm running to win, and one of them did.
Yeah.
And it's the one that is you. So you're a greatest miracle from the day you were conceived.
Wow.
And you know what? And you are the greatest miracle. And this world did not produce this incredible ability just for us to slave away and live a mediocre life. No way on earth. We were produced to do something incredible. So let's take advantage of it, learn this stuff, reprogram our mind with Augmentino, and let's become the greatest people that ever lived.
Wow. That's a close right there. I mean, we're not into closing techniques, but that's a close, everybody. That was fantastic. And for those that want to get out and reach out and haven't met Alan Nagao, you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. He is just truly a great friend to so many people around the globe. And today we'll have people watching and or, at any other time watching from around the globe. And Alan, it's great to have you. I know the Augmentino company, we're talking 52 years in the making since that was written. I think we're probably nearing about 90 years with Think and Grow Rich, right? 1930s.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So just fantastic. Appreciate your comments for people that have been here today. Again, we're sponsored by the Habit Finder, habitfinder.com/act now. If you do want to take the assessment, it's free. We're just trying to help many, many people. And Alan, you did such a great job saying it's not the first time you read it, but it's not, and it's the last time, but it's the final 6 inches. And, for me at 19 years of age, that was a tough 6 inches when I first read it. But as I called you yesterday and I said, I'm just rereading I Am Nature's Greatest Miracle. And I mean, to know you, to love you as so many people do around the world, to travel with you as I have, to share stages with you as I have. There is no other person in the world. You, Alan Nagao, not only are the greatest salesman, but you are nature's greatest miracle. And I want to thank you for coming on today. I know you're busy. So we sure appreciate you being here.
Definitely, we love Augmentino, and his book is something we're actually committed to studying the whole year. Just like one chapter, one scroll a month for the whole month, and we, you don't get tired of it. It's just something that gets deeper and deeper as you go through it. So that is my study, and definitely all of the work that you are doing right now is so important for everyone. So everybody just continue to grow and learn. That's the world.
Yeah. Principles, only principles endure, Og says at the beginning of the book. And I hope everybody goes out and makes it the greatest day of your life. And we'll be back next Wednesday. Wisdom Wednesday, 2 p.m. The Greatest Salesman. I'm Dan McCormick signing off today. What a terrific show. Alan, I've got a whole page of notes. I'll have 10 pages more when I re-listen. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to sharing the journey with you and reaching out to more people and helping them recognize the 3 things you shared today. Definite main purpose, visualizing your day, and feet on the ground. I love it. He's Alan Nagao. I'm Dan McCormick. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you.